Hi friends, I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to another Sketchbook session video. I'll link the playlist in the description area below if you're interested in watching the other videos in this series. I'm still in the pursuit of finding interesting compositions for my collage practice. I'm trying something different this time around. Instead of working in a sketchbook right side up, I'll flip it upside down, then sketch. Then flip the sketchbook back to the right side up after the sketch is finished. This orientation will be the final composition. My thought process is that I need to look at compositions I create from a different perspective. So if I create them in one orientation, then flip them around, the compositions will be different than my usual style. I hope this makes sense. Let's start with the first sketch so I can visually show you what I mean. As I previously mentioned, I'll start each section by turning my sketchbook upside down. This is the same sketchbook that I've used in the previous videos in this series. Since I didn't glue any of the pages together, the pages are very thin. I put wax paper behind each page that I'm working on. I use wax paper instead of regular paper in case the paint seeps through to the previous or next page. I don't want the pages to stick together. Wax paper will help with that. During these sketching sessions, I'll be working on both adjoining pages as one design. This will give me more room for a larger composition as well as larger shapes. Lately, I've been using paint instead of paper when sketching composition ideas. It's a less constraining way for me to work while deciding on shapes and placement. I can easily go back over a shape to alter it with more paint. Speaking of paint, I added the names of the paints I'm using at the bottom of the screen. Most of the paint I use in this sketchbook is Blick's matte acrylic paint. The other brand is Paper Artsy's opaque chalk acrylic paint. The painted pages tend not to stick together when using matte paint. You can also mix in matte medium if you only have regular acrylic paint, or you can put wax paper in between the painted pages before you close the sketchbook. Also, I want to mention that the paint colors in the sketches aren't necessarily the colors I'll be using in the collages. When I sketch, I either try out different color combinations or I just use the paints that are on my table. Sketching for me is a way to work through an idea or design. The sketches aren't finished artwork. With that in mind, the finished collage can be different than the initial sketch. I am being mindful of using light, mid, and dark values in each sketch. This helps me to see if it's balanced and has contrast. I'll add some music while you watch me create this sketch. I'll come back at the end of this section to discuss the completed sketch. Here's the completed sketch. I do like the right side up composition better than the upside down one. I like the direction and placement of the yellow paint shape. If I recreate this sketch as a collage, I will make the middle orange shape more pronounced so it'll be seen as a focal point. Let's go on to the next sketch. For this sketch, I want to be mindful of having a focal point. I'm starting by painting this large yellow shape on the right side of the page, which will be the focal point. By starting with a focal point, it'll help me to choose colors and shapes for the other elements. I'm painting smaller shapes in the same color on the left side. These small shapes add balance to the composition while not distracting from the focal point. While painting, I'm being mindful of having contrast and balance, also exploring different shapes and sizes. At this point, I'll add music while I finish this sketch. I'll come back once it's done. I'm glad I came back into the small yellow elements and painted each one with a light yellow-orange. By slightly altering the color of the smaller elements, it helps to strengthen the focal point while keeping the composition balanced. The mid-tone value orange element doesn't read as a focal point due to its value. If it were a light or dark value, then I believe it would distract from the actual focal point. I like the variety of sizes and shapes of each element as well. Let's do one more sketch. I was inspired by the mid-tone orange element from the previous sketch. This time I want to paint a large orange element as the focal point. I'll be choosing the colors and element sizes to reinforce it. Once again, I'll add music while I create this sketch and come back at the end. Here is the finished sketch. Let's first talk about the orange focal point. To be honest, I'm not sure if I like the placement in the upper section of the page. It is slightly off-center, which I like. I will have to think about if I want to use this composition as is for a collage or change the location of the focal point first. I do like how the other elements help to support the orange focal point. The smaller light orange elements add balance to the collage. The light blue and aqua elements add good contrast next to the orange focal point. For my next video, I will use some or all of these composition sketches as inspiration for collages. I'll give myself some leeway to slightly alter the compositions if needed. I encourage you to have a sketchbook practice. It's a great way to work on designs, ideas, color combinations, or just play. I hope you enjoyed this video. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch it. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.